Good afternoon, fellow Red Hawks. We welcome you back to your second weekend after Christmas break. I'm your anchor, Mitch Enmer.
And I'm Brett Murkowski.
We hope you all had a great Christmas, and we would like to wish you all a Happy New Year. With the 2 snow days we had last week and the shortened Friday we had this week, things are going quick. Just think, the seniors only have about 4.5 months of school left.
Speaking of quick, the most athletic man in our CSTV crew is out on our sports anchor this week.
Ian Murphy is on the court and ready to score with this week's sports. Take it away, Ian.
Hello, this is Ian Murphy, and you're watching CSTV Sports. Watch me! Good afternoon, Cedar Springs High School. As previously stated in my slam dunk of an intro, I'm Ian Murphy. Winter sports are in full swing, from cheerleading to wrestling, hockey, bowling, and of course basketball. Unfortunately, the holiday cheer didn't follow the girls' competitive cheer team to their latest competition due to it being snowed out. That hasn't stopped the team from keeping their game and their attitude from hindering their competition this past Saturday at Reeves Puffer. Hopefully the cheer team gets on a roll. Speaking of roll, our own varsity bowling team rolled into first place over Christmas break in their tournament. We talked to Josh Austin to get some details on how they knocked down the competition. This is Ian Murphy from CSTV Sports, and I'm here with a member of the Cedar Springs bowling team, Josh Austin. How are you doing today, Josh?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you, Ian?
I'm doing well, thank you very much. Congratulations on your win this weekend.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, that was awesome. So I really want to ask you, why is bowling so special to you?
Well, it's a sport that you can do pretty much your whole life. You can start when you're like 4 and pretty much go until you can't walk.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool sport. I wish I was better at it. Could you give me any possible tips on a quick little thing I could change in my game to make me a better bowler?
Well, just when you throw the ball, don't try and spin it with your wrist. Try to just throw the ball. Don't.
Yeah, none of the fancy stuff?
No fancy stuff. Not like Justin Bieber.
Okay, thank you very much, Josh. Again, congratulations to the team for their victory. And thank you, Josh, for teaching me those helpful techniques. I wouldn't want any fancy stuff thrown off my A game. Another team that seems to be rocking it are our boys varsity basketball team. They have started off their season 4-0 and seem to be continuing that trend. We caught up with David Kearney, also known as Crazy Dave, and got an inside scoop on the team's ambitions and goals for the rest of their season. This is Ian Murphy here with varsity basketball player David Kearney. How are you doing today, David?
I'm doing good.
Awesome. Your team has had a great start this season. What has caused your team being so successful this year so far?
Well, last year most of the team was juniors, and now that we're seniors, we're more experienced, and I feel like that's really helped us.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing that on the court. What is your team going to do so you can keep this ball rolling?
Well, just keep working hard in practice and keep doing the things that coach is telling us to do.
Yeah, awesome. Towards the end of the last game, people were chanting Crazy Dave to get you back out on the court. Why do people call you Crazy Dave? What makes you so crazy, Dave?
Well, I think it's more of an oxymoron because, I'm far from crazy if you really know me.
Okay, well, I mean, it looks like you're a beast out on the court, so that's maybe why they call you that. Thank you, David, very much for the interview. Thanks again, David. It's always awesome meeting a celebrity. He's even more crazy than they say. Also, don't forget to purchase your very own Hawks Nest t-shirt to show your school pride. Hawks Nest t-shirts will be sold throughout the week at lunch, before school, and after school for $10. Also, sign-ups for the Spirit Bus to the Forest Hills Eastern basketball game will be available before school, during lunch, and after school for $5 so you can make that awesome game and support our school's team. Well, that wraps it up for this week. I'm your CSTV sports anchor Ian Murphy signing out. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Ian. Always a pleasure. I would also like to let you all know that was Ian's first attempt at that shot.
Kyle Mick has always been our man when it comes to news in a flash, so let's send it over to him with the world news in 60 seconds.
Hey guys, Kyle Maka here with CSTV News, and I'm back with your beloved News in 60 Seconds. First off, with some odd news here in the U.S., there was a smuggling attempt that was spoiled by the U.S. at the Mexican border on December 30th. The Customs and Border Patrol found a 48-year-old woman contorted in a suitcase. The woman was a Thai national who was charged with re-entry after deportation. The name of the 56-year-old Phoenix man who was driving the car has yet to be revealed. The case has been turned over to the Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Now, you guys all felt that chill that the US got last week. This burst of cold is actually called a polar vortex. It even reached the deep south and caused record-setting temperatures all across the country. Unfortunately, it also caused 21 deaths just by the sheer cold. Other effects of the polar vortex include over 2,500 flights being canceled and natural gas needs skyrocketing. Remember to always stay bundled up during the winter months, guys. This has been Kyle Maka with CSTV News. Now back to you handsome fellas at the desk.
Thanks, Kyle. Always fun to see what you have in store for us.
You know what else is fun?
Spring Hill.
That's right, Brett. Even though Spring Hill's winter retreat is over, there's always a chance to go next year.
So we're going to send it over to Tyler Hindenack to tell you what you can expect.
Spring Hill is really a church camp, but for us as a school, it was more than that. It was a time to bond and really get to know each other. It was really like a retreat for all of us.
What kind of activities do they have there?
Spring Hill has a bunch of activities. They have tubing, paintball. They have this big place where there's a gym in it. You can play volleyball and basketball, and also there's a game room where you can do a bunch of crafts and hang out with your friends.
What does the theme redefine mean?
Redefine really means to find yourself. Since it was a church camp, the goal was to find your faith and what you really mean and find your inner self. I definitely suggest that people should go on this trip next year because it's not only just a good time to hang out with your friends and stuff, but it's really to get to know each other better. I've learned more about my friends at this camp than I have ever known them before because I've known them my whole life.
Thanks, Tyler. Now on a more somber note, as many of you know, Mr. Hazel will soon be heading to Texas to fight sarcoma. Alex Hughes will be covering this story for us. Over to you, Alex.
Hello, I'm Alex Hughes with CSTV News. As many of you have heard, one of our very own Redhawks has been diagnosed with cancer. I had the privilege to sit down with Mr. Hazel to talk about his fight with cancer. All right, so Mr. Hazel, what cancer were you diagnosed with exactly?
It's called a sarcoma, which if you look it up, Google it or whatever, the first line will always say it's a rare form of soft tissue cancer.
Yeah. When did you exactly find out about this sarcoma cancer that you've been dealing with?
I got the initial call the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, that Wednesday that we had off for Thanksgiving break. I got a phone call from my doctor. I'd been going through some symptoms and had been seeing them. And it wasn't until they actually took a CAT scan on that previous Monday. So I had a CAT scan on Monday, and then that Wednesday, they called me with results of that, and they basically said, we found something.
When and where are you going to get your treatment for this cancer?
We're going to go to the University of Texas hospital in Houston. It's called the MD Anderson Cancer Clinic. When we first got the diagnosis and I started looking up sarcoma, and then of course, after you look up sarcoma, you start looking up, well, who treats it the best? So MD Anderson is who pops up all the time as probably the top hospital in the United States for this. So not only just through research, but I kept getting some references from other people that had been down this road themselves or knew of somebody, and MD Anderson kept coming forward, and so we decided to go ahead and go for that. So, and just before you got here, I've been waiting for a telephone call. All the tests that I've been doing since that Thanksgiving, and there's been a lot. I've had biopsies and MRIs and CAT scans and all kinds of things. Once we decided that I was going to go to MD Anderson. We began the process of making that happen. Well, the process basically is sending all that information down to him.
Yes.
All the results, all the pathology, all the reports, doctors know, everything. They want to look at it themselves. And so I basically for the last week have just been waiting for that phone call from Houston where they say, okay, here's when we want you to come down. And just before you came in here, they called, and it looks like I'm going to be going down on the 24th, 2 weeks from now. So
it's great to hear that you're getting the best treatment and best faculty to fight this cancer for you as possible. With you being a huge community figure, how does it feel, all this community, overwhelming support from people in our community, not just donating, but donating meals and just there behind you?
It certainly is humbling. In one of the posts that I put on the Facebook page, I kind of mentioned how we often hear the phrase, I don't know what to say, and that seems to come out when somebody does something, for you, and you're kind of speechless. But I literally have entered that world of, I don't know what to say. It's so generous and thoughtful, and it certainly has eased some of the anxiety with just the logistical stuff that it's going to take for us to go to Houston. So definitely humbling. But with all gratitude, I want to say thanks.
Well, we're all here to support you, Mr. Hazel. Wish you the best of luck down in Houston.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Alex.
You can buy Team Hazel wristbands in the athletic office from Mrs. Matson for a minimum donation of $2. You can also go online and join the Facebook page Purple Haze, which supports Mr. Hazel, and there you can find ways to donate money and food to the Hazel family. All of us Red Hawks are here to support you, Mr. Hazel. This has been Alex Hughes with CSTV News. Now back to the front desk.
Thank you, Alex. And all of us here at Cedar, we're rooting for you, Mr. Hazel.
Now, check out the upcoming events in this week's previews.
From CSTV News, this has been Brett Markowski.
And Mitch Hanmer. Remember, it's a great day
to be a Red Hawk.